Hi everyone, welcome to Brimwood Farm. I'm Jeff. It is a beautiful day and we're here on the land for a farm vlog. So the last time we were up here was a few weeks ago and we were cutting back some brambles and some stinging nettles to make way for the area behind me to put some fencing up and make this a nice kind of relaxing area with a fire pit and loads of herbs and also some nut trees over there. So let me take you and show you what's been going on. So basically this was all way high with brambles, so we've cleared all along the edge here, but as you can see all the stinging nettles are now coming up. So I will be scything and strimming those back today. I can't cut them all out, so I'm just going to keep on top of them with strimming constantly, and over the years hopefully they'll disappear a little bit. The brambles have also come back with a vengeance, as you can see. But they're a lot easier to deal with now they're cut back. Now these are big ones, so I should be able to actually dig these completely out, and I will trim the tops off. But the smaller ones that are amongst the bramble, amongst the stinging nettles, again I'll just top them, and then I will try and dig them all out over the years. But like with everything, if I keep on top of it, strimming, and then they never get a chance to actually grow properly, eventually, after a few years, they will just give up. So here is the pit where we're clearing the way. You can see actually the water from the pond has totally disappeared now. So this floods really badly in the spring, in the late winter, the early spring, and then it dries up, so it's all gone. Which is why we want to put an artificial pond in there. The blackthorn is looking lovely over there and there. And there's actually tons of it about. So I'm going to get on with the strimming of these nettles, enjoying this weather. If I see any wildlife, I will try and grab the camera and get it up. There were some rabbits over there earlier, and I'm down on this little bit. There is some movement at the owl box, so I'll take you over there. We're also going to get the next 4 owl boxes up from our campaign, our crowdfunding campaign. They're going to be going up this month too, and I'm also going to go across the wildflower meadow because there are still tons to scythe over there, and I also want to show you where we're going to put the magnolia tree in. So I'll see you again in a little while. So I'm going to take you across to the owl box. We've got 4 more that were successfully crowdfunded, and we're going to put them up later this month, and we're going to do that on purpose because when we put this first one up, we discovered from the owl sanctuary guys, actually if you put them up too early in the year, jackdaws take advantage. So instead of the owls getting a nice nest, the jackdaws move in instead. So I'm hoping that, obviously this nest box is already up and it's been up all year round, so I'm hoping it's not going to be a case of jackdaws have moved in and not owls. The reason I'm going up and down like this is our tenant farmer has actually ploughed this field ready for sowing and growing whatever he's going to do this year. Last year it was sugar beet for his sheep. Unfortunately it was a really bad year, but the field came up beautifully covered in oxeye daisies, which he left because he also loves wildlife, and so he allowed them to sit and flower and feed the butterflies and insects and stuff, and then now obviously he's ploughed it up, but it makes it a bit hard going. So this tree over here, that one in the centre of the screen, is where our owl box is, and in an earlier video we did find owl pellets underneath. So the owls have been around and we dissected them, and from what was in them, fairly sure they were barn owl nest boxes, barn owl pellets. As I say, we've seen barn owls here and we've heard tawny owls, so we're fairly sure they were barn owls. So obviously if there is a barn owl in there, it's the middle of the day, so it's going to be asleep. So we're not going to see anything, but I wanted to show you a few little signs. So On close inspection, oh, it's fallen over. On first inspection, it doesn't seem to be anything off. However, there it is. You can see, I don't know if you can see that well, in the middle here, of there is a stick. And that stick was not there previously. So that stick, I thought first, might have fallen, but if you step back you can actually see it's in the nest box. The second thing I found was down below. There are some little bits of, where's my hand? Like nesting material. Now I don't know if owls use nesting material, but you can see there's some there. There's a little bit hanging here. And it's almost, you know, there's a bit of nesting stuff as though somebody has been carrying it into the nest box and it's dropped down. So I have no idea whether owls use nesting material. I don't have a clue. This is the first year doing it, so I don't know whether they do or not. Fingers crossed it is an owl, but even if it's not an owl, it's something is used in the nest box, so that would be nice. I just hope it's not squirrels. But to be fair, we don't really see any squirrels around here. It could be jackdaws, but they're around in the daytime, so I'm going to keep an eye out, and we might see them going out, in and out if it is jackdaws, but I'm really hoping it's barn owls. Now this is the wood on the edge of our land, which we actually want to bring in by planting more trees, but over the top of it is our resident pair of buzzards. There they are. They're far away, so you can't really see them on this Samsung phone. You know, if I had a proper camera I'd be able to zoom in. But last year they had a chick. They successfully raised it. I haven't seen it this year. No, that's a lie. I did see it. We saw it in the beginning of February, but it's now getting towards breeding season, I would think. So there they are here. So I would think they've probably chased it away now, and they're probably preparing to nest again, hopefully another chick. So another project that we've got in the pit, which is here, is we've started doing a bluebell grove. Now they're normally out in flower about May, early May, end of April, but I'm just going to check on them, make sure they're coming up, because we had a disaster last year. Put all the bulbs in, they came up, so spring 2016 they came up, and we realised we'd been sent the wrong bulbs. So they were a hybrid, they weren't the British Bluebell. But this is another end of the pit. We have grand plans for making sort of a big feature tropical garden in here, where we can grow stuff for the nursery, the garden nursery, some tropical plants and stuff, and also keep some of the pheasants. But the woodland's a little bit further down here, and really fingers crossed we have actually got some actual proper English bluebells. What I'm going to do with the hybrid ones was, as they start to flower, just pull off the heads so that they can't seed. And then actually I could dig out the bulb at the same time. But I just couldn't face it last year because I just planted this bluebell wood, and then I discovered they weren't proper, well, they were proper bluebells. They weren't English native bluebells, which was the whole point of putting them in the first place. But if we can make our way through some of the nettles. Right. So, well, we can clearly see they're not actually in flower yet because there's no blue. And unfortunately there's sycamores up here, and you can see the floor is littered with sycamore seedlings. But now, can we find any bluebell? Yes, we can. So, right, so they're actually very early. They're very early on still. They haven't even started producing buds. So yeah, it won't be till May. This one's been chomped by something. But actually there's quite a lot. When you start looking around amongst the sycamore and the odd stinger. There's quite a few bluebells. There's not as many as I had imagined, but I think maybe they're a little bit hidden. Actually, while I'm down here, I can show you where I've been cutting. So if we walk through here, this ridge up here, that is where I've been cutting. So up here. And this was the blackthorn I was talking about. So this whole area, eventually I want to put steps coming down here. So there'll be fencing up there and steps down here. But it's so pretty today. I just can't believe how pretty it is. This is a crabapple here. And it's actually got lots of flower on it. So I must get some and harvest some this year. Anyway, back to work for me. Okay, all those nettles are now trimmed. So I have my scythe and my rake, and I'm going to go and do some more of the wildflower meadow. Now this is not a one-man job. This is a 2.5 acre meadow, actually a bit bigger, but we're going to plant some of it with woodland. And we've started putting a wildflower meadow down, but I just physically haven't been able to scythe, well, hardly any of it. So I need to keep going. I've been over there to check this morning, and actually the growth hasn't been that much this year, so I'm going to scythe some now, because I won't cut off any weeds. I'll just cut off some of the dead thatch from last year. So it's through this gap. Ooh, sorry. This is when you're trying to do things one-handed and things get in the way. So through this gap here, this is where the butterfly walk is going to be, which is basically a grove of white buddleia that I'm going to plant and cluster around this entrance, so that you walk through and under these sort of arbour of buddleias, which is also called the butterfly bush, because it attracts a ton of butterflies. So that will be through here. I've already widened this gap a little bit, just cutting back some of the hawthorn. Originally we were going to put an outbox in this tree, but it's a high traffic area, so I think we're not going to. So this will be the butterfly walk through here, and then coming out into the wildflower meadow field with the wood over in the background. So I need all of this dead stuff you can see is all stuff that actually needs to be scythed down. So basically the entire field. We did make a start. So I have done this tiny little section in the middle here. That's all I've done. But you can see that the wildflowers are already coming through, but they're still quite low to the ground, so I can easily scythe above them. So this is sort of plantain and oxeye daisy, and what else can I see? Grass, thistle. There's tons of beautiful wildflowers in here, I promise you. I'll come back later in the year and you can see it for yourself. But I'm going to get some scything done, so I will see you again in a little while. Well, I've been scything for a little bit, and there was something rustling in the undergrowth, and the dog pounced, and sadly the dog didn't actually even, you didn't touch this, did you? Didn't actually touch it, just pounced towards it and sniffed it, but it had a little heart attack out of the stress and the shock, I expect, and died. But it's really cute. I think, is it a shrew or a vole? I need to look it up. I'm not very good with my my little rodent wildlife. I'd have known if it was a mouse. But is this a vole? I'm not sure. Whatever it is, it's probably owl food. But today, unsadly, it has perished at the hands of my dastardly hot dog who pounced on it. Well, I've been scything for about 2 hours. I feel like I've done loads, but actually when you look at it, I haven't done very much at all. So this was the old area that I'd done, and I've now done this bit. So standing here, I've done everything this on the right side of my finger. You can actually kind of see the difference. This side was where, excuse me, this side was where we had the wildflower meadows seeds were actually grown, and you can see that actually everything's a bit greener than it is on this side, where it's mostly been just weeds and the sort of dying off oilseed rape. I'm hoping that as these grow and seed, it will spread across. Now you clear all the thatch away, which is these two big heaps, but I tend to leave a couple of heaps because actually it rots down into one little stack, and it's a really, really good place for rodents and other wildlife. And the first owlbox tree is that tree there. So if these are full of rodents ready and waiting to be eaten by owls, that's a good thing. Now I'm gonna leave it here, I think, because I've just been stung by a very angry bee on my shoulder. So my shoulder is pounding a little bit. I've got a frog in my throat. Sad for the bee, because the bee's now going to go and die, whereas I've just got a little bit of pain. So I'm going to take you over to one of the other projects that we're going to be doing this year, which is starting on the Meadow pond, which is actually right behind me. But to get there, I've got to go all the way around. So I'll show you in a minute. So we're going to go up to the Meadow pond, which is going to be the last project that I kind of want to get started this year. We're not going to be able to finish it because it needs to be dredged, and everything around the outside needs cutting back. So it's not going to be completely finished this year, but if I could just start it a little bit, it would be a great thing, and then I can continue. And this was the pond actually where we always used to have frog spawn, so it would be nice to get it cleared and get the amphibians back and start the progress. I mean, there's another 2 ponds on the premises, so just to get one active and wildlife friendly would be great. We've also got the bees up here. So we have a bee man that has hives. I would love to have my own bees one day, but it's a lot of hard work. So we have a chap who has his bees, and they are very active. Well, you know, I've already been stung, but I think that might have been a bumblebee actually that I disturbed when I was raking, rather than a honeybee. You can see here the warm weather has really brought these guys out. Honey, honey, honey. And I love making jam, but for jam obviously you have to buy in the sugar. So when you've got honey, the bees do it all for you. So my long-term plan, especially for the self-sufficiency, is bees. And then this is the pond. So we have got this big beautiful oak tree here, but then as you can see, everything around it is really, really overgrown. And then it means that every single winter, autumn, winter, all the leaves drop into the pond and it becomes rather murky and gross. So the first thing will be to actually cut everything back, cut a lot of these branches that are coming over, really discover the edges of the pond so that we can find out what's there. And I mean, you can see how far it comes out. It's here, but the pond is right in there, so all of this needs to be stripped away really. And it's not as if we haven't got enough blackthorn here. There's tons of their stuff. So this is a big blackthorn thicket. Let's go round. So it's literally surrounded. And then this is the other end of the pond, which you can just kind of see here, hiding away. And you wouldn't believe that when I was a kid, this is the pond we used to come and fish in, and there used to be mallards on here and everything, but it's just such a state now. So actually, there's loads of stingers here, so I'm not going to try and go in with my short socks. So yes, so that's the project this year. We'll probably start there in the summer, because at the moment we're doing all the scything, which is kind of the thing that needs to get done first. and then we can move on to longer term stuff, so we can start cutting this back later on in the year. So that's a wrap, guys. I'm shattered, so I'm going to go home. I've still got a 2-hour drive to get back home again, so I think I'm going to call it there. And if you've made it this far in the vlog, because I know it's been a long one, thank you for staying along. I know there's been tons going on and there's been loads I wanted to show you, and it's a big space, so I just wanted to try and cram as much in as possible. I will see you again tomorrow for a regular Monday Magic, because there is a ton going on back at home as well. And actually, as an aside, I'm just going to let you know that I'm actually going to be starting a Patreon page for the farm. So we crowdfunded the wildflower meadow, which is over there, and also the owl boxes as an ongoing thing. But I thought actually a better way to do it would be to set up a Patreon page, and then people can dip in and dip out a few dollars here and there, and all that can go towards funding projects on here, so like getting a dredger in to help with that pond, getting some fencing up and stuff like that. Now I haven't officially launched it, but it is live, so I've put the link in the description. Take a look. You can give me any advice or tips you might have about using Patreon, and if you are a patron of anything, also let me know what you might want in terms of content for supporting the farm. Obviously there's behind the scenes and special offers and things like that, but there might be things like naming animals. You could help me decide what to hatch, that sort of thing. So just any ideas, let me know. But for now, because I'm rambling, I'm going to get in the car and go home. Have a lovely evening. Thanks for staying for this ride, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.